Hello, I'm Kyle Jorgensen, president of RMT, Revolution Machine Tool. I'm going to go on our website today, rmtus.com. I'm going to go into one of our calculators, the laser cost calculator. I'm going to open this up. Now, there's a lot going on here in this calculator, a lot of spreadsheets and formulas and research that we went into to build this calculator. And it's really just a tool. You can use it anytime, of course, to help you potentially bid on work, kind of see what your competition's doing, perhaps, that kind of thing. Also, you know, if you're hopefully, I mean, we really like our machines and we'd like to sell you a machine and put it into your operation and be a productive benefit to your business. But long story short, what we do here with this form is we've got a CO2 laser here on the left, all the data here, and we've got one of our Kyson fiber lasers here. Now all these machines, I mean, we can go in and change the wattage depending on your situation, table size, I mean, depending on cost, that kind of thing. You can go in here and change anything that's in red to update the sheet of all these variables. Now if you look down the left side here, I've got several material types here. Now this is mild steel with oxygen assist gas, mild steel with nitrogen, stainless with nitrogen. You know, if I go in and change these, they'll update the speeds, theoretical sheets you can cut across. You know, I'm going to change this to a 2 kilowatt, you know, so it updates. 3/8 aluminum. But to just kind of go through and get a basic idea of the type of work you are doing or could be doing. You can also zero these out. Say I didn't want to cut any mild steel with nitrogen. I zero it out. And I could, you know, zero this out and make this one 100%. So I just want to look at oxygen cutting, compare the two machines, and just all types of scenarios depending on what you're thinking about. Now here we've got cut inches be a nest, so to speak. Again, you can change this. How many pierces are in the nest affect it, that type of thing. But as we go across here, I've got, you know, your CO2, mild steel. Again, this is 4 kilowatt CO2, 105 inches a minute. It's a study in there, you know, a lot of this, the data that we've collected. 2 kilowatt fiber, 88 inches a minute. You notice piercing time 12 minutes, piercing time 30 minutes. Like what? But we find with these with our fibers, we're able to pierce a lot quicker than a CO2. It saves us a lot of time. Again, this is a 2 kilowatt fiber. Something to take consideration. We change this to a 4, and it affects it changes our cut times again. I'm going to change it back to a 2. But go through, just, you know, pick some material types, thicknesses, percentage of what you potentially could be doing, type of machine you're looking to compare, and just kind of go through it. Now you notice here we didn't put any copper or brass cutting with the CO2. I know, I mean, you can cut copper and brass with CO2. It's dangerous, of course, but I mean, a lot of people in the industry have learned a lot of tricks on how to do that. But again, you know, the speeds and different things. But with fiber, absolutely, we can cut copper and brass. But I'm really trying to compare just CO2 on a fiber right now, so I left these at 0. But with this particular scenario, with this 4 kilowatt CO2, let me digress here a little bit. The price here is what we theoretically test, kind of calling around the market, what a 4 kilowatt CO2, what a shop is trying to charge or is able to charge. Now some are higher, some are less. Depends on the type of work, the area, the country in. So you can just go in and change this. But this is, you know, CO2 based to get 4 kilowatt. We needed a baseline for this to work. But I've got, you know, again, this scenario, 4 kilowatt, this type of work. Theoretically, I'm going to earn $303,000. So cutting 2,500 sheets, $303,000. Now with this fiber, 2,000 watt, I'm going to cut 3,500 sheets. I'm guessing it's a different, percentage variety depending on the thickness. And the potential income's 415. You're like, okay, well I got a 2 kilowatt fiber, 4 kilowatt CO2. But if I went to a 4 kilowatt fiber, notice this jumps. Our cut speeds really jump. But I'm going to change this back to 2. So we've got our, theoretical sales price, our, what we believe a 4 kilowatt CO2 would be new, 60 payments. Again, you can change this, what your interest rate is, what your theoretical payment per month, your capital lease or loan, the theoretical floor space of this CO2, your cost of floor space again. And again, our fiber lasers are always going to have a smaller footprint than CO2 due to a much smaller chiller. The resonator, the light source itself, is much smaller than any CO2. Oxygen costs, the risk kind of varies in the country. Oxygen is not a big part of this scenario. Nitrogen, you've got 3 options here. You can kind of play with this, see what's the best scenario for the type of work you're doing. Just stay with nitrogen bulk on both of these and go through this. Now you notice here in this scenario we're using more nitrogen, so it's cost us more per hour to run the fiber than it is the CO2, but it's not more cost per part because of how many sheets we're cutting. This CO2 we're figuring at $14 an hour, and this includes rebuilds, mirror alignments, root blowers, that kind of stuff. Now this is theoretical, some higher, some low. A lot of, this number's really hard to estimate, especially with all the different types of machines and who's honest, who's not when they tell us about it, or we're studying it. But the actual customers we call, this is the number we came up with. The studying we've done on fibers, we're under $1 for spare part is nozzles and all this anti-splatter mirrors or lenses, that kind of thing. So we get down here, we've got $13.46 an hour to run this fiber with this scenario. This is with nitrogen and this oxygen assist gas with this mix of material and thicknesses. And we got $25.43 for the CO2. And the big part of this is right here, plus the power, you notice here, $3.14 an hour, $76 an hour. And over years, this, a couple, $2-3 an hour makes a big difference. But we get down here, total cost with cutting at 1,536 hours a year. Now I can change this. Notice that goes down on both machines. If I change it over here to your cost per hour, if you added 2 shifts, so over 3,000 hours a year. I can change this depending on what I'm doing. I'm just going to change both of them back to 1 shift. But our powers, again, is $3. Our power's $76 an hour. So our total cost running at 1,536 hours a year, buying a machine over 5 years, we're estimating $133 to run this machine, and that's at $20 for an operator per hour. Again, that really depends on part of the country. A lot of variables there. Fiber $98.58. That's buying the machine again. So our income $303. Again, this is a 4 kilowatt. Income $415. So we earned $415,000 with that machine. We had payments of $88. Now, just really think of this depreciation. We couldn't do depreciation and a loan payment. It was kind of hard for us to figure out. So we just did depreciation, right? Just expense the loan payment every month. So $88,000, $122,000. Annual operation cost, a little higher on the CO2 due to maintenance, also power consumption. So our taxable income is $111, taxable income $275. Big difference. Now we figured a taxable rate here. Just the default's 40%. Any percent is higher than anybody wants to pay, of course. But our tax, $44,000 in this scenario, $110 in this scenario. Income after tax, $66,165. Again, income end of loan term 333, 827. You can see with the fibers, much better investment in this scenario. Now play with it and change in different scenarios. And I can go in here and change this to a 4 kilowatt. Now, you're going to have more income, but you've got to have the work. I mean, the speed of the machine is going to go up. Also here, take this, there's so many sheets, cut times, and do a little bit of grain of salt, because it really depends. I mean, the machine's very capable of these cut speeds, but it really depends on the geometry of the part on either machine, of course. And we really, we prefer to do some cut studies and actually cut your parts, and that's no problem. Readily available, and we can cut and videotape your parts, that kind of thing. But we get down here, again, this is a 4 kilowatt, our income went up. Our end of after 5 years, after paying taxes, we figured 40% after 5 years, the value of the machine, 40% value of the machine. Now again, we know the fiber is going to be worth a lot more on CO2. It's current technology. I mean, rub your crystal ball, see what, in 5 years, but we theoretically, pretty confidently know that CO2, this fiber is going to be worth more, just due to the fact that it's current technology compared to the CO2s. But this scenario, 547 with this mix of work after 5 years, after paying for the machine, theoretically, 1.8 million for this 4 kilowatt fiber. Now I'm going to go back to a 2 kilowatt again and see the price updates. Let's see, let's go back to a 2 again. 2 kilowatt, so 981, 570, or 547. Now, let's say you already own your CO2. So I'm going to put $1 in here. Or somebody, a good friend of yours and a good buddy gave you a machine, okay? So you'd still have the install cost, that kind of thing, but we're not getting into that. Also, on a used machine, let's say, your spare and consumable parts cost could be a lot higher than this per hour. But we go through this complete scenario, your investment cost, $8. That's with the floor space. The interest here is nothing because obviously it's $1, but your nitrogen rentals, that kind of thing, but you get down to $8 an hour. But we get down to our bottom scenario, we're still higher with the fiber. Now again, somebody gave you this machine or you already owned it. Now here we are with the fiber, 981. It's a better scenario with a free machine. Again, this is this particular scenario. Now, if we had more work, you could go, let's compare a 4K to a 4K. Now again, the 4 kilowatt fiber is more money, but at the end of the day, we've cut more sheets, we have more income. If we've got the work, of course. And at the end of the day, this is a much better investment than this machine over here, even though it was essentially free. But it just, again, depends on your scenario. So, but appreciate your time today, and if you have any questions, please feel free to call us anytime and send us some parts. We'll do some demos and really show you what our machines can do. And appreciate you, and if I can ever help you, please let me know. Thank you.